my phone. It's important.
All right. I think we're live. Chat, please let us know if everything works sound-wise and audio-visual. That's always the most important thing. And as I just, in my last videos, you guys already saw, I have a new camera, new microphone also now, so I'm just getting used to this stuff. But anyways, I'm joined by Rob from Digital Asset News, or DAN, Dan.
Yes.
And first of all, I must thank you for having me on your show around 10 days ago or something like that. That video got like 17,000 views. I got 400 plus new subscribers. So thank you so much for that. And it's glad to have you here. How's everything going on your side?
Yeah, it's good. That was a good video. It was, and I got to give a shout out to Jerry Hall for introducing you to me. He's really up on top of things, and he's a big believer in Cosmos, which I really wasn't a big believer until I talked to Jerry, and then until I listened to some of your videos, because I was like, yeah, it'll do okay. But then as you look behind it, you're like, oh, it's pretty good. But yeah, everything's going good. I think for most people, we're feeling a little exuberance with the green in the market. So yeah, things are going pretty, not too bad today.
Yeah, and I guess we're going to talk a lot about this today. What your 2023 outlook or predictions, maybe if you have any, are your favorite coins, your favorite ecosystems. We hopefully get to talk a little bit about Cosmos because I know you're doing your homework right now, which is really cool. But yeah, I think also, chat, if you're watching live right now, share this the link to this video with everybody. Share it on Twitter so we can get as many people in here. It's still kind of like a bear market, so I understand if the engagement is a little bit lower than normal. But yeah, I think we can get started with a little bit about your background. You have over 300K subs on YouTube, super successful, very engaged audience. So what is it that you're doing? How did you got started? And what is the focus of your channel and your content?
You know what? This will be more prevalent for the people listening right now. You know what I did? I just stuck around. That's pretty much the secret to life. Like it's the same thing when I was in the military. All you had to do was just show up in the right uniform and you get promoted. It's the same thing with investments. It's the same thing with success. It's the same thing with starting a YouTube channel. The same way with starting a business. You just got to stick around, and then good things happen. So we started it in late 2019. And the reason was because my friends and family were getting sick and tired of me talking about it. And then I had different businesses, an online education platform, sports facility, Amazon business, and then real estate. And those businesses, they don't run themselves, but when you put people in place to run them for you, things start to go on autopilot. And I don't know what everybody's position is, in the audience, but I will just tell you this. You should never retire, because retirement sucks and it's boring. You have to actually do something. So that's why I do the video. It's fun every day. I mean, it's not so fun in the bear market when people are calling you a moron left and right, which is fine. But that is the beauty of live shows. So we've been since 2019, just showing up, taking the lumps, learning from your mistakes, and then moving forward. We focus mostly on the daily news events, but lately we've been kind of getting away from actually doing that, also doing education on the different projects that are out there, and then also just some basic fundamentals of the things that I picked up along the way and all the mistakes. Just like Warren Buffett said, you don't have to have mistakes, but you need to learn from mistakes, and just learn from all the screw-ups that I did, and you'll be okay.
Yeah, I think that's very accurate. And I'm curious, you mentioned Amazon. Did you do Amazon FBA or what was that?
Amazon FBA, fulfillment by Amazon, which I got to tell you, it's a pretty hands-off business. All it really is, it's simple, but it gets more competitive. All it is you just talk to the suppliers or to the manufacturers and go, what do you guys have? Send me a list. They send you these big lists. You run through a program. You take a list of which one's profitable. Okay, I'm going to give me 10,000 of these gas caps. Give me 5,000 of these yoga mats. Give me 10,000 of these. And then you don't ship them to you. You ship them to Amazon. They put the labels on for you. And then you just pretty much are the middleman. That's the thing. You're just the middleman, essentially. So we've done that for a while. Still doing it. Kind of boring, but it pays the bills. And it's just one of those another revenue stream of revenue come in.
Yeah, it's interesting because I also, like, sometime in 2018, like late 2018, I also met a guy randomly. It was a huge coincidence how we met. But he was also in crypto, and he was running also this FBA business. And then he kind of like dragged me into it to help him with, because I'm German, so I helped him with the German market.
Sure.
And that helped me because that time was capitulation in crypto, right? Like actual capitulation. People really left the industry. There was nothing going on. It was horrible. There was literally no money. Everyone was in a deep loss, heavily underwater. People doubting the entire industry.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to also look for, how I can pay my bills, pay my rent, pay my coffee, and all this stuff. So Amazon FBA really saved my life and still helped me to focus on crypto, right? Because it's a very flexible job, like you mentioned, right? You can automate a lot. So even for people now that are probably not, making a living from crypto yield farming or staking, I think FBA might still be a good option to survive, at least. Or what do you think?
No, it is. It's just that, we just got out of Q4. That's like the big run up for the American markets for Christmas and things like that. So you kind of push things into that. And then after that, you kind of take your foot off the gas and then do that. But I'll tell you, I mean, it got more competitive as time has gone on because more people were teaching it, more people were getting into it. So the manufacturers, but again, it's just the relationships you build and it's just showing up. If you show up, usually good things happen. Not every day, but it usually works out.
Yeah. So I think that's good advice. And hopefully people can learn from this. But so what did then get you so hooked about crypto that you talked to your friends about nonstop and then eventually started a channel? Like, because I think you mentioned already earlier, like persistence and really sticking around is really the key. But I think to be in that position that you have such a persistence and are learning to be patient, you need to have a fundamental conviction of something, right? So what was that fundamental conviction that you have about crypto?
So, well, first of all, I think a lot of people got into crypto for the same reason. Some people did get in for the altruism and said, I want to help people and I want to take the power away from the government and stop the money printing and get rid of these bankers. That's some. I think for the most part, a lot of people were like, wow, the number goes up. That's pretty cool. I'm going to do that. And that's what gets us into it. Let's not lie. That's just kind of how I went. I don't know if everybody's the same way. But then as time goes on, and I don't know how it was with you, Cito, but like for me, the financial literacy in America, as far as the schools, is severely lacking. So like I didn't understand about debt and the Federal Reserve and the money printing and the Fed rates and this thing is called a silent tax about inflation. I just didn't understand it. And then as time has gone on, and I've seen things just erode as time has happened, I go, you know what? I think something does need to be done, and I think there's some type of currency that can actually help us out. Bitcoin's the first one, and I know that if you're a Bitcoin maximalist, great. I'm right there with you, but I think that there's some other things that can be done on different chains, like these smart contracts, like with tracking of inventory, like with digital IDs, which we're going to need at some point, not in the first world countries, but third world countries. And also just to expand and to help cut out middleman, like what I was doing with Amazon and actually doing other things with, again, like with smart contracts, like what Avalanche and probably Cosmos will do at some point. So I think that this, the crypto and digital assets, I think it pulls people in with this amazing asymmetrical return. But I think the people that stay here and have conviction, they take a look at is, well, what can it do? What is the real utility? Where is the store of value? What is fungible? What is non-fungible? What can it actually have utility? And then we stick around for that. So here we are.
So in that context, when you research a coin, what is your mindset? What are you looking at? Are you looking at the team? Are you looking at the tokenomics? What is the most important thing then when you analyze a coin where you say, hey, this is an interesting project, I will probably DCA into it and maybe build a position there?
When I first got into crypto, it was more about just a numbers game. Okay, just tell me how much I can gain and go from there, because that's essentially how things work. with real estate, with the online, with the sports. I mean, everything that I've done before is just about that. But as I've gotten older, as I'm getting much, much older, as time has gone on, I realized that I have to take a look at the things behind the numbers go up. And that was a shift about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, where I take a look at, there's 4 things now I look at, and I call it the cut. Will this project make the cut? It's CUTT. And the first thing we take a look at is the community. Well, how much has this project built as far as community? If it's new and a startup, well, how fast has it actually grown? Because, Ethereum's been around, quite a bit. Other projects have come later, but how fast is it growing? The next one is utility for the U. What does it do? Does it actually do something? Is it actually make a difference? Or is it just another Me Too type of project? And if it's a Me Too product, who cares? And then, I don't know if you can hear that music in the background. That's lovely Puerto Rico parties.
Puerto Rico, there you go.
Just going on for no good reason.
No,
real quick.
No,
Yeah.
I like the vibe. We just had Cosmoverse in, there you go. We just had a Cosmoverse in Medellin, Colombia, and it's, man, I love it. I mean, I'm German, and Germans are usually very, Sunday it has to be quiet. Nobody even talks, don't go outside. And you come to Latin America, and it's like, everyone's just partying. I love it.
This is true. You haven't been to, if you like quiet, don't come here, because this is actually a pretty quiet area I live in, but not today, apparently. Hold on 1 second.
There you go. That's live and uncut. Jesus.
Ta-da! Puerto Rico. Okay, so anyhow, so CUTT, community utility. What does it do? The team. What has the team done? Because I don't know. You're not going to know where people are going until you know where they've been. And if you've got a group that's built other crypto projects and is built to like $1 billion or hundreds of millions of dollars, like I can bet on them. And then the last one would be the tokenomics. Am I going to get dumped on? How far out does it go? What is the inflation rate? Is it deflationary or not? And do they have any kind of burn mechanism? It's just like the basic types of things. And then for me, I always ask if I'm going to invest into a project, especially if it's new, I always ask them the same thing. I need you to come on the show. I need you to talk to people. And I need you to give me as much access as you possibly can, and then go from there. Now, having said all that, I've still made some mistakes along the way, because you got to understand, out of 10 projects you invest into, you just really need 1 or 2 to really nail it. And the other ones, I know are going to fail, because that's just the name of the game.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's all probabilities, right? And what you can do with your research is to maximize your perception of where this project might go, but you can never say with certainty, right? And there's also so many external factors that you can't predict, right? War broke out early last year. Then we have, macro stuff going on. A lot of this is predictable, but a lot of things also aren't. So there's so many things that factor into this. But yeah, I like that cut. Do you actually have a checklist that you always have, and go through that? Or is it just also from your experience, I guess you've been investing now for a while?
No, it's like, well, of course, the first thing we always ask for is light paper or white paper, just to go through it. And then we do all the research for it. So first of all, it's always in my head. I also have it on a spreadsheet about the things that I look for. So when I do because I have a second channel called Dan Degen, which is not very well known because I don't do a lot of Degen plays. I've reviewed 4 projects so far in 2 years. And these are just the ones that I thought would do pretty well. And we took a look at Genso Kishi. And the reason was because it was already an actual live game for 7+ years, and it was on Android, Apple, iOS, Nintendo Switch, and PlayStation. And then they switched over to the Metaverse play. And then we had one called Fame, which was an MMA franchise, kind of like the UFC, but it's in Europe, more specifically Poland. And they use their influencers to fight each other. So they're like, hey, like to fight? We'll give you Fame. And that was like their new thing. And then you get discounts for the pay-per-view and things like that. So not too bad. And then take a look at the other couple ones that we did. Everdome. I thought that would be, pretty decent just because the community. And then the last one was Sweatcoin. And Sweatcoin I thought would do pretty well because It was already the #1 downloaded app globally, between #1 and #4, depending on what you want for health and fitness. And it was free. The app was free. To get the tokens were free. Of course, when things are free, when you open up the app, you got to get ads and buy things, just like what people are watching right now. And I thought it would do pretty well in the tokenomics. And so far, they've done pretty decent. Fame didn't do, it started off hot and then just kind of dropped off. The other one's still going strong. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Are you also looking into specific ecosystems and then you go really deep into that? Or are you more like diversified? And also, do you look into specific narratives? I mean, crypto always lives off narratives, right? We had NFTs that blew up, then we had gaming, then we have L1 season, L2 season, you name it. So what's your thoughts on that?
So you, like, I don't actively look for anything anymore. And then there's a couple of people that I trust and a couple of people that I met along the way. Like in Puerto Rico, there's a bunch of like crypto OGs here, like people who have invested into Bitcoin in like 2010 or have invested into Ethereum when it was like an ICO. I mean, these guys, we talk to them and they're like, hey, there's this project, and it's not often, but there's this project looks pretty good. And they just bring them, and other people I trust, they bring them to me. And I don't really get into sectors per se, but if there's there's one we're taking a look at right now, Alaska Gold Rush, which is a Web3 gaming, which I'm not a gamer. I never really was a big gamer, except for like Street Fighter 2 back in the day. But like games like Web3 and those type of things, I'm like, I don't get it. But when I take a look at what they're doing and the actual graphics, which is comparable to like an online like Red Dead Redemption, Red Redemption, the PC game. It looks almost like the exact same, and their model looks pretty good. So I take a look at that, and now we just have to go through the process of vetting it all out. And I still haven't given these guys an answer, which I really should. So to answer your question, I don't really stick to like a certain sector. It's just the things that kind of come up and go, okay, that could be good. That could be good.
I also watched at least the first half of your latest show, which I think is a weekly show now, right? No financial advice.
Yeah, with Ben and Guy. Yeah.
So Coinbureau, Ben Cohen, and you have a weekly show now called No Financial Advice, where you just talk about, I don't know, what's going on currently. I mean, you talked about also the Avalanche partnership that was announced, outlooks, trends, and one topic, which was really fun, because I liked your answer out of the three, was the asset allocation right now, right? Because Ben was more saying like, hey, I'm taking it a little bit more conservative right now. I have my Bitcoin back secured. Other than that, I'm just waiting to see how this year develops. And then probably towards the end, look into alts, also with an eye on the Bitcoin dominance. I think Guy has all his bags pretty much loaded, at least from how I understood it. He's also actually big on Cosmos. I think Cosmos is one of his most favorite ecosystems out there. And then you just came in and said, guys, I kind of disagree with you guys. And then your strategy right now is to just micro DCA, and you're just buying a little bit every single day. So maybe you can comment a little bit on your current allocation. Also, are you more Bitcoin heavy? Are you more altcoin heavy? Sure. And what's your current thoughts on the markets, crypto markets?
First of all, like when I disagree with Ben and Guy, it's tough because first of all, Ben's a really super smart guy. He's got his PhD in nuclear fission, I believe. He's a nuclear engineer, so pretty smart gentleman. And then Guy has nothing but tons and tons of great data and information over there at Coinbureau. They got a great team over there. But I've always disagreed with their philosophy, mostly Ben's philosophy, and it was very simple. And the philosophy Ben's, I still think he's right actually. And we talked about this. Me and Ben both believe, and Guy, we all three believe that we're going to see more of a tumble this year, 2023. It's going to be a turbulent year. It's not going to be as crappy straight down as say 2022, but I think we're still going to see some more downside, just because of the macro events that are going on. However, saying that, there's still little bull runs everywhere you look. And we just had one. We just had like a minute. Some might call it a bull trap. Some might call it a bounce. Some might call it just a bear rally. But regardless, we went up massively. I mean, Bitcoin went up between 20 and 23% in roughly 7 days. We had Ethereum go up like roughly 21, 22%. You had Cardano go up 40%. You had Solana go up, I want to say it's 145%. It was a massive gain. So like everywhere along, there's gains to be had. Just you got to stick into the game, and it's going to suck for a while. So what I do is I say, okay, look, I know things are going to be bad. I don't think I'm going to start to dollar cost average like I used to, but I'm going to cut that by about, 70 to 90% of what I usually put in, and just do what it's called micro DCA. That way I can take a little bit of funds. So like, here's an example. So from the 16th of December, well, actually essentially the whole year of 2022, I was putting in $40 a day for Bitcoin. Not a massive amount like I used to put in, for some people that is a massive amount. It doesn't matter. It's whatever you can do. But if you take like the last 2 weeks, like 16th of December, and then you go to like the 9th of January, 8th of January, $40 for 25 days or so, it's about $1,000, right? We went up 25%. So we do some quick math here. 1,200, it's $1,250, right? So 1,250. So in that framework of time, and you can go back as much as you want to actually, but I just took a very basic one, just 2 weeks, 25 days, well, I guess 3 weeks and 3.5 weeks. And you just take that and go, okay, I put this much in. I'm going to take some profits along the way. That could be 20%, that could be 10%, whatever want you to do, and you have fresh powder. And the reason why I do it is because in 2017, I thought I was the genius because everything went up. But then I realized that I'm not that smart as 2018 came in and kicked me in the teeth, and I just watched all the gains that I had drop off the cliff in 2018. And I had a hard time selling. I had no problems buying because everybody was saying, what? Diamond hands, hold forever. John McAfee was saying everything's going to go to $1 million or Bitcoin's going. And I believed it. Now what I do is I just stay in the game, and I just do this a little bit of selling here and there for muscle memory. Because at some point, and I don't know when this is, I'm thinking 2025, maybe 2026, maybe 2027, we get a big, huge rally like we've had in the past. Don't know when it is. And at that point, I want to have that muscle memory to remember, hey, you know how to sell, you can sell, you have a plan, put that plan of action and just do it. And that's it. So that was the point why I disagree with Ben and Guy. But in the long run, I think we're all going to be fine as long as we just stick around. So yeah.
I agree, yeah. And that was also a learning for me from 2017, 18. I did pretty much everything wrong in those 2 years that you could do. But I think probably once you have to go through the cycle, or you have to learn and really listen to somebody that has gone through the cycle and then execute on that experience to avoid making the same mistake. Yeah. But yeah, what really matters is not too much when you buy, but how long you hold. If you're betting on the right horses, obviously. If you buy stuff that's going to zero, it doesn't matter how long you hold it, obviously. But if you bet on the right coins that have strong development, innovation, product market fit, I think then it's just a matter of patience and time frames and time horizons. So in that context, maybe you can share besides Bitcoin, and I think you also have some Ethereum. What are some of your favorite coins out there? And what is your current state of thinking about Cosmos?
Right now, it's looking pretty good there's three that I think look pretty good. It's Polygon, Avalanche, and Cosmos. And I never really got into Cosmos, and people would talk about layer zero. I'm like, sure, whatever. But then when, I think it was on your channel, I think you said it perfectly. You said, Cosmos, Luna was built on Cosmos. And with the crash that happened, which sank the entire market as far as like the price action, well, really it was FTX doing a lot of shady things behind the scenes and Celsius and Voyager and da-da-da. But he said, even as that happened, which it was built on Cosmos, nothing happened to the ecosystem itself because everything is independent with their validators. And I had to think about that for a long, hard second. And I thought about like the things that are built on, I mean, everything. Like Ethereum's a layer 1 foundation. If Ethereum goes down, everything goes down. And Solana, next thing. If Solana goes down, which it seems like to go down a lot, just kidding, Solana holders, but not really. But it'll have these issues, and then that'll take everything down. But with Solana, you can do these things, and you can, make things happen. Now, having said that, I know there's some issues with validators, and for every new project that goes on there, there's a discrepancy or a different 2 ways to look at it. And tell me if I'm wrong here, Cito, is that the validators that they have, you can use the validators for Cosmos, or if you're going to do your own chain and you want to be truly decentralized, you have to make your own validators and get your own validators in there.
Yeah, I mean, in general, the architecture of Cosmos is that app chain philosophy, right? So for every dApp, you have your own chain,
right?
Which means if you have your own chain, you need your own validator set, right?
Right.
And as of now, we do not have any shared security, which means if you had shared security, you could leverage an already existing validator set to also secure another chain that is running, or like renting security from that other chain, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what's coming now. We talked about this on your show a little bit. That's what's now coming to the Cosmos Hub, which is the flagship chain in Cosmos, I would say. There's always some, tribal debates about it. And even in Cosmos, there's tribalism, of course. It's just a natural thing. But let's say Cosmos Hub is the flagship chain in Cosmos, even though it's just a competitive L1 to every other chain in Cosmos. Yeah. But interchain security, which is that shared security feature, will come there so that the Cosmos Hub validators will also, which I'm also running a validator there. So we're actually going to secure, so we have to run nodes for chains that will come and rent security from the Cosmos Hub, right? And that will take away that friction, like you said, that you have to bootstrap your own validators, because that's a high entry barrier. You have to, campaign for it. You need to onboard validators. It's costly. And also the security might be much lower. So, but yeah, and then also what you have in Cosmos, I think, because even though we say, okay, we have this app chain philosophy, we still have app chains that can be smart contract platforms, right? So you still have evmos, for example, which is an EVM chain as an app chain on Cosmos, but you can build, it's basically Ethereum in the Cosmos ecosystem, right? So you can still build dApps on top of it and redesign or migrate over every Ethereum application onto evmos, for example, right?
Yeah.
And then you have a JavaScript smart contract platform. You have CosmWasm with Juno, right? Which is a Rust-based smart contract platform. So you have different layers. And I think once you really dig deep into that, you're like, holy shit, this is so huge. And it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And then you still have app chains that are just there for one purpose, but you can also have app chains that have hundreds of applications on top of it, right? So,
and I was thinking about, as you were talking, I was thinking to myself, what if you had a new project come in, and of course, like you talked about, shared security. And they're like, well, we don't have validators, so we're going to need some validators. So, okay, you have some type of decentralized project. You're trying to make it decentralized as much as possible. You deploy it on Cosmos. You don't have validators yet. You have a shared security. Use those validators. The question that I think about is because of what the SEC is trying to do right now in America, which is they're looking at what is decentralized and what is not decentralized. So I'm thinking to myself, if I'm a crypto project and I want to appeal, or just to not have the SEC breathing down my neck, just to say, okay, well, I need something that I can get validators, which would decentralize my project a little bit. Maybe that would be something foundational for those projects to look into. I'm not for sure how that works. I don't even know what Gary Gensler is trying to do. I know he watches my show. No, I'm just kidding, he doesn't. But he should. What I think about it is, I wonder if these projects can do that, just to kind of have a little bit more peace of mind and go, okay, I've got these validators. Now I don't have to deal with it being a security. Or maybe I'm wrong on that one. Maybe it actually makes it more. I'm not sure. But it sounds interesting. Maybe they could pull that off.
Yeah, and I also think, in general, the validator landscape, and that counts also for Ethereum, that counts for everything else,
right,
is way too small, right? Like in Ethereum, you have a couple thousand validators, But it's also because one entity is probably running hundreds of validators. In Cosmos, on the Cosmos Hub, you currently have 175 validators, which are like independent entities or individuals.
Yeah.
Which is already a nice number, but it's still, and there's like the top 7 validators that could technically hold the chain if they were all aligned and wanted to do something malicious. Same kind of like counts for Bitcoin, right? The top 3 pools are controlling the majority of the BTC, supply out there. I think in general, our industry is just so small, and we're just above $1 trillion now in market cap. Like overall, it's overall still quite centralized, I would say. Like no matter what design you choose.
Yeah, I got to tell you, that does make, unfortunately, a lot of sense. But with time, everything should work out. I need to talk to you after this to talk about being a validator. That'd be something I should look into, or we should.
No, definitely. Yeah, and I also like a lot of content creators are looking into this, and I think it also makes sense because one, you kind of have a more stake in the network that you're interested in or that you're mostly passionate about.
Right.
But two, you're actively decentralizing the chain, right? If you and your community run a node, or you run a node and your community delegates to you, you're another player on the field, right? You're another decentralized node in a different geographics, in a different jurisdiction, in a different place, instead of having Binance, Coinbase, Lido, and all these big guys run, multiple nodes.
Right.
But yeah, we can definitely talk about that.
Do it later.
Yeah, sure, man. But yeah, so Cosmos, you're interested in? I guess your Atom backs are loaded then, or?
So Cosmos is one of those few that I actually, because when I talk about micro DCAing, I don't dollar cost average many. And I talked about this on a recent video, which people ask me all the time, like, are you still buying into crypto, or have you, taken to the side and not done anything? And this was I think it was a video 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I said, yeah, I still DCA. I micro DCA. I don't invest like I used to. But there's other ones that, as the price goes down, I will increase my my dollar cost averaging. But it comes down to this. It's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, little Algorand, Cosmos. It was an Avalanche before, but I added Avalanche only because of, let's be honest, Avalanche partnering up with Amazon is a pretty damn big deal. And then also, I think Chainlink's in there. And then, of course, Polygon, like I talked about. So I don't know all the different products that are going to be built. I just care about what's the ground floor for them. And those are, these different layers.
Okay. So in Cosmos, you just DCA'd some Atom, or also looking into other coins?
Yeah, right now just Atom, but I haven't really I haven't done the digging enough to take a look at different products that are out there, because these are, they're a little bit more risky. As we go down to like the projects, right?
Yeah, sure. I think what I would recommend also anybody that's maybe new to Cosmos, just get Kepler Wallet, which in my opinion is the best UX in crypto for any wallet. Start your journey. Probably have to buy Atom and some, Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, whatever. Get it on your Kepler, connect it to osmosis.zone, which is the best DEX in the world, in my opinion. And from there, you can also use IBC. We talked about this on your show a lot, how you deposit and withdraw coins back and forth, different chains, which I think is really exciting. But yeah, I think there's still a lot to improve in Cosmos, UX-wise, liquidity-wise, awareness-wise. I think there is a lot of potential at least. But yeah, so that's cool, man. And yeah, let's talk a little bit as we wrap it up about your 2023 outlook, your predictions. I don't know, do you have any thesis around L1s, L2s, anything that's going to pop? Is Ethereum going to overtake Bitcoin? What's your prediction?
My prediction is Bitcoin will be somewhere between the price range. This is the end of 2023. I have to make that 100% clear. The price of Bitcoin end of 2023 was between $5 and $150,000. It's somewhere in that range. I'm 100% sure of it. That's all I can say. I'm going to tell you why I don't do like prediction. It's a problem with predictions is that, and I used to do these videos as well, because I thought this could I thought it could really go. Like my prediction was Bitcoin to 100,000. That didn't come out. I thought Ethereum could go to 10,000. That didn't happen. I thought Cardano would go to 3. That actually did happen, which was surprising. I called it, but it was just luck. So these days, if I give a prediction, I think some people look at that and go, okay, well, this guy said it, and he, researches a lot, so it must happen. But no. So I don't know what's going to happen as far as this year. All I know is that it's going to be turbulent. I don't think this current run-up is going to last. I don't think we're going to see like a 40,000 Bitcoin and a market cap of $2 trillion. I think there's going to be the next Fed rate hike will be between 25 basis points or maybe even a pause. And if it's a pause, you're going to see more of a bull rally, and that's great. And then to see if there's a recession here in the States moving across and globally, I'm not sure. But if it is, I don't know if it's going to be a hard landing, but I think there's a recession coming. I don't know if it's going to be soft or not. And what does that mean? That means that'll fight inflation. Inflation will go down. 2023 is going to kind of be that bumpy year. But if you and we've done this numerous times in the channel, we just took a look at dollar cost averaging of just the basics, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano from 2018 on. All you got to do is stick around. I don't know when it's going to go up, but there's going to be times when you're like, wow, I can't believe it went up that much. That's not financial advice, but again, just for the long haul, and usually do pretty well. If you're looking to be a Dogecoin millionaire in a month, it's not going to happen, and you're in the wrong channels.
Yeah, I agree. This stuff happens randomly, and some people are sometimes just extremely lucky, and then they share it, and then everybody thinks they can do it, but it's very unlikely to make a lot of money in a very short time in crypto. Yeah, it's more of a long play. So yeah, sorry,
it was like you said in the very beginning. You said there's going to be projects that are just going to fall, and you have to know which ones to bet on. Like my example, I always give my example, which is a Dash Assault, which is there's 2 projects. One was called Dash, supposed to be the next Ethereum killer, and if you can take a look at the chart over time, it peaked in 2017. Hasn't even sniffed the next part. And the next one was Salt, which is supposed to be the next Revolution lending platform. And that thing just spiked in 2017 and has flatlined like an EKG. And it's not going to do anything. So if you dollar cost average into those, it's a rough time for you in crypto. If you just concentrated your wealth, that's not great. If you diversified, you'd probably be a little bit better. Now, if you diversified and just put everything into, I don't know, Dogecoin at 0.0003, you're probably doing pretty good still. But it's just how much risk do you want to take?
I'm curious. You mentioned Algorand earlier. Are you actively following that ecosystem, or what do you like about them?
The CEO, the person that invented it, lately, I always forget his name. But I had No, and I had Anthony Scaramucci on the show for a bit, and he talked about how him and his company did the due diligence on Algorand. They thought it was doing great. They put in $250 million. However, they did invest in the FTX as well. So maybe I should take a little bit harder look. But I can see how things could go. They've got a lot of inroads. They've got a great team. They got a good amount of developers, but can they make it? I don't know. I'm just kind of shooting to see which one will stick.
Yeah, I think that's a smart way to look at it. Even for myself, like I'm very focused on Cosmos, but I'm also investing in projects outside of Cosmos. Sure. I also used to cover more non-Cosmos projects, and I actually want to get back to that a little bit. And there's also a lot of synergies, because Cosmos in general is a very open-minded ecosystem, also the ideology. But I always liked Algorand. I never got a chance to really deeply, dive into the technology and everything. But yeah, definitely interesting stuff.
Interesting enough to make a small play. That's probably my smallest one that I actually dollar cost average. Yeah. That's kind of a long shot.
Okay, cool, man. I don't know if there's any questions from the audience.
Let's answer them.
Let's see. Let me know if you see anything. Christian is saying, great to see you in the Cosmoverse.
Thank you.
You got to come to the conference this year also.
Where is that?
It's not public yet. It's not known where it is this year. but I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a good one from Sniff. He says, ask Rob how his buddy Steve Ehrlich is doing. That's a good one. So
Oh, I don't see it. Yeah.
so Sniff, he's been on the channel for a couple of times. So like, remember those things we talk about mistakes? So you have to talk about your mistakes. And the mistakes that I made they were twofold, actually, Celsius and Voyager. And the only reason that I knew about Voyager because it was a publicly traded company. And thankfully, they put out their financials. And this was in middle of June. I want to say June 21st, 22nd. And a financial report came out that said that they made a loan of almost $640 million uncollateralized to Three Arrows Capital. And it's one of those things where, like, people and or projects, they work until they don't. And at that point, I put out a video, and I have it in, there's a link in the description of every one of the videos I do now. I said, look, they made this huge play, and I can't support that. And I'm going to take all my funds off. And that's why I did my rules, which are the 5 rules. Everything's a scam. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. Take everything off the exchanges. Take profits. And don't use leverage. Those are the 5 rules because of that. And then with Celsius, actually, I went to a thing called Consensus. This was on, gosh, I can't remember. It was 2 weeks before that. And then, of course, everybody in there was saying, or some people that I trust were saying, hey, there's something going on with Celsius. I think they're insolvent. Came back from Austin, back to El Paso. And then the next morning, I did a video. I go, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to stop using them and taking all my funds out. And then 9 hours later, Celsius was shut down. Now, did I get all my funds out? No. And you want to know how you can know? That's public record because they doxed everybody and they put all the information out. And everybody knows my name, so you can see that I got 6 figures still stuck on there. It's mistakes I hopefully will not make again moving forward. So Sniff, thank you for bringing that up. I love to talk about it every time, and I will continually do so.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. And also that you're sharing it because people can learn from it, hopefully. But yeah, we all do crazy mistakes. I've also done everything. Like, when I started, I did everything wrong for such a long time.
Yeah.
I think it's just natural. Saying, ouch, Rob.
Hey, you know what? It's just like look, it's just like in the military. You made a mistake, you raise your hand and go, man, I messed up. Because if you don't own on those mistakes, then somebody dies. So in these ones, I go, look, these things, and I will tell you, like, Celsius worked until it didn't. I don't know how many years it was open. It was over 2+. People were still getting yield. They were still doing the things. I don't know. I mean, and they just did riskier and riskier stuff. And then with Voyager, they want to make that just boneheaded mistake of an uncollateralized loan. Who the hell does that? They'd have been still around. So, yeah, those are one of those things. It's an ouchie, but it's a good learning experience. And I will say that the things that we learn from here, who's going to keep their crypto on exchanges these days after those 2 failures, FTX and BlockFi? And it's up to us to remind all the people that come in 2024, 5, and 6 to remind them, say, hey, there's a reason why we talk about taking your things off exchanges, because I'll give you 3 reasons: Voyager, Celsius, and BlockFi.
I think the only people that should have, or that have a reason to have crypto on centralized exchanges are actually only traders.
Yeah, because you got it for your puts, your options, your calls. Sure.
Yeah, because also the DeFi infrastructure doesn't exist yet, at least not with the liquidity and UX. So I understand that, but if you're just holding, don't hold it on like exchanges are not even made for that. It's an exchange, right? You go there to trade. You don't go there to store. So never use an exchange as a wallet. I think that's a really bad thing to do. Christian is saying there's FIFA NFTs on Algo. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, interesting.
What's your take, Cito, on NFTs? Are you big into them? You like them, or you just don't?
I think they're interesting. I think JPEGs, was the first crazy use case for it. I actually still remember the CryptoKitties times before NFTs were big, But Uni L3, LP positions are NFTs. Yeah. I think we're going to see a lot of crossover with DeFi in the future. I think a lot of actual artists and brands will enter the space over the next years, but it needs to get solidified more. It needs to get more, it needs to clean up. But I think we're in a process right now. But of course, the tech is definitely a game changer for artists, music labels, the entire music industry, all these artistic art industries. I think it's a big thing.
Yeah, art. And then for me, I always thought it was perfect for real estate, because that's what me and the wife do, short-term rentals and different properties. And like eliminating middlemen is what is the driving force. It's expensive. When you sit down and you sign those documents for the mortgage, or when you purchase it straight out, it's just the fees are ridiculous. And it's just middle people that just keep eating it away. If they can do an NFT, put it on a blockchain, and everybody knows who owns it, good. That's it.
Yeah, the only thing for real estate, which is definitely going to happen, but the only thing that's still in the way, I think, is the regulation around it, right? Because now we're talking security tokens. So that will definitely come, and also actual shares as a coin, tokenized shares, tokenized equity, all this stuff.
Well, yeah, you like if you're talking about like tokenization of securities, like doing like fractionalized shares of houses, that's one thing. And then, but the other part is just like recording and the basics of buying a house and putting it on the blockchain. That's another thing. But I will say, Larry Fink from BlackRock, he just did an interview 2 weeks ago at BlackRock, 10 trillion assets under management. He came out and said, look, he goes, the future is tokenization of securities. He goes, that's the future. That's what we're going to focus on. And I can see it. And there's actually, Cito, I got to introduce these guys, a couple of guys from Switzerland. One is a securities lawyer. The other one is their CTO. And they're looking to securitize or tokenize securities in different companies moving forward. And because they're in Switzerland, they have the regulatory clarity. But that's that's not for this show. That's for like something else.
I feel like this needs to be more frequent. Maybe there's one last question. You can actually also, that's a quick one actually. Let me just take that about. We talked about this already a lot. Cosmos, I think if you want to invest in Cosmos, like have exposure to Cosmos, having Atom is a good start, but I think it's not enough because, Osmo could also overtake Atom. There's so many other coins in Cosmos. They're all kind of like equal in terms of representing the ecosystem. So, yeah.
So who else would it be, Cito?
I just made a video about this actually, but my tops, I think top 5 my top 2 are definitely Atom and Osmo. Then I would add Stargaze, which is the NFT platform in Cosmos, to that. Then I would add evmos to that, which is the EVM chain I told you earlier about. And from there on, it's like, there's so many strong competitors. Axelar is a nice one. I don't know if you heard about them.
What do they do?
They're doing like an interoperability layer that just expands on IBC, so you can connect also other ecosystems to each other. And they're actually the founding team of Algorand is actually also founding team of Axelar. So it's a nice one. You have Agoric, the JavaScript smart contract platform, a lot of DeFi stuff, right? Injective, Torchain, which is also a Cosmos project that most people probably don't know because they're not branding themselves too much as a Cosmos project, and they also don't have to. But there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. So
there is.
Let's take the last one for you. Any thoughts on Monero? Pump, second best in this milli bull run?
Hey, I mean, Monero is synonymous with privacy, right? And I think these days, the things that are happening, and especially who knows what kind of regulation is going to come out. I think Monero has always been that way, right? It's always been that option if you just want to use privacy and not get tracked. So I can see it. It just depends. I know, like, also Litecoin was pumping as well because they have their halving coming up, and also they have the privacy standard also built on. So privacy could be the next big utility. We will see.
Yeah, I think privacy is always going to have demand. So interesting stuff, man. I think we could go on talking for hours, but this was fun. We should definitely do that again. And yeah, thanks for being here. Also, everybody in the chat for your questions. And go over to Digital Asset News. Let me actually grab the link and show your channel.
Yeah. And then I'm glad to answer any questions. So Sniff and his question, glad to answer that as well. I am not too happy with Sniff and the other comments that he makes in here, but that's it. So Sniff, if you ever ask that question again, happy to answer it. But that would be it, I think. I think you've asked me that like 10 times straight.
Yeah, that's all right. No, he's asking you to unban him. Anyways, thank you so much. Link is in the chat box. I'll also post it under the video for your channel. Subscribe, follow you on Twitter. Yes.
Yeah. One more thing. Sniff, any chance you'll unban me? You're not banned, but I should ban you. Thank you. And it wasn't that comment. It was the other comment that you made was anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cito, but I can't stand people like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's trolls all the time, you know. So it is what it is. People are wild on the internet. There we go. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Dan, or thanks, Rob. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.
Take care.